We have our oomphs, and now, or I'm sorry, we got our oomphs GUI, and now we want it to connect to the value that's in leader stats. So the way that we can make that happen is you want to go ahead and go to your oomph label, which is right here, and we're going to add a script to it. So we'll right click it, add a script, and inside of there, the first thing we need to do is to get the label. So let's do local dot parent. I'm sorry, local, what is this? Label is equal to script.parent. And we also want to get the player, okay? And so how do we get the player? Well, let's go ahead and run the game and see exactly where this oomph label script is so that we can navigate ourselves to the player. So you'll notice here that those it's in here in player GUI, oomph GUI, in the frame, oomph label, and here's the script that we just modified. If we want to get the player, it's here in players, and you can see it's parent, 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 parent is the player. Okay, so that's from the script. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parents. All right, so let's come back to let's close this up. Let's go back to our script, and we're gonna say local player is equal to script dot, or maybe we could use label and parent 4 times, okay? Because label is script dot parent, so we'll do dot parent, and we'll copy and paste this 4 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So here should be our player. You might need it. We might have made a mistake and need to double check how many parents, but I think that's right. And so now that we have that, we can say, we can say label. Oh, not table. Label is equal to player dot player GUI dot oomph. Dot oomph GUI dot frame dot oomph label. Okay, oh no, I'm sorry, what am I doing? Okay, so we need to modify the labels. We need to modify this label's text, right? So I made a mistake. So we need to say label and then access the property text. So we'll say dot text is equal to, and what we're going to say here is player colon wait for child leader stats. And after we wait for that, we're going to wait for child oomphs dot value. Okay, and so you might be wondering, what are all these wait for childs for, and why do we need to do this, right? Well, when we go ahead and play the game, what you don't see is like workspace gets created, players has not loaded yet, players loads, and once the players folder loads, then the player loads afterward. And after the player loads, then these folders load. And once these folders load, then the values or the objects inside of the folders also load. And this all takes time. Okay, sometimes it'll take 0.2 seconds, other times it'll take a full 2 seconds for all of that to happen, right? So if we didn't have these weights and we just said oomph value, well, we would be grabbing the oomph value before it was loaded into the player, and before even the player was loaded. So if we do a player dot wait for child leader stats, that means it's going to wait until leader stats has been loaded for the player. And then if we do a wait for child oomph value, then it's going to wait for the oomph object to have been loaded and its value to be there. So by doing these waits, we're ensuring the fact that this oomph value will actually contain this value instead of being set to 0 by default because it wasn't in the folder. Okay, so now we're going to set the text label to the value that's in the oomphs in leader stats of the player. So let's go ahead and check that out and see if it works. We'll play. And you can see here it does, right? So it has the same number. And if I go ahead and die or oomph myself, then you'll see that on the respawn it resets to 6. Okay, so it's working, but we are missing the text oomph. So let's go back to our script, and what we're going to do is do string concatenation. So this expression here is just like a big long expression for the number 5, right? If that's the value in the leader stats folder. So what we're going to do is concatenate onto it. So we're going to do a string ... Okay, this is how we concatenate, and so what we want to concatenate on the front of it is for it to say oomphs like that, right? So it's going to say oomphs 5. So let's stop this and play it and see if it goes the way that we want it to. So there we go, right? It says oomphs 5, and then I'll die, and it should say oomphs 6 after I respawn. And it does. And there's one thing that we want to adjust now that we have this going, is that we don't want this leader stats board anymore. Okay, we don't want it to show anything. We're going to be solely dependent on this screen GUI. So what you're going to need to do in order to get this going is we're going to stop the game, and there's a command to disable the leader stats board. So we're going to go into starter GUI, and we're going to add a script. So we're going to right click, insert object, a script right here, and I'm going to call this script disable leader stats script. Okay, and the command to make it happen is this one here. So let's go ahead and type that in, and of course we're going to test it, see if it works. And hopefully it's gone. So it's not gone, huh? Okay. Let's see. We're in the starter GUI. We have the... I'm sorry. I just broke open my original game, so I'm just wondering what is not working correctly. We're in the starter GUI. We have the disable leader stats script, and that's the same thing that we have over here. Okay, so this disable leader stat script is actually a local script. Okay, it's not a regular script, so that's the problem. Let's go ahead and copy that, and then we'll delete this regular script, and then we'll right click starter GUI, insert object, local script, because of course we don't want this to happen for all the players, or actually we do, but this is going to happen via a local script. So let's go ahead and save that in there. Let's rename this local script to disable leader stats local script, and now let's play it. And voila, it's gone. Okay, so that's that, and we'll move on to the next portion in the next video.